So, GPO Update 8 came out around 2 days ago now. It's been out for about 2 days at the time of recording this video. And I made a video just before the update came out saying, will GPO Update 8 save the game? Well, now that the update's actually come out, I thought I'd revisit that topic and see whether Update 8 has saved the game. Now, the update has only been out for a couple of days, so obviously maybe if it had been out for a week, I would probably have more to go on based off player counts. However, the player count has been pretty solid so far. I believe it's gotten to about maybe 70k consistent players. Last time when I looked at it, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, so obviously you can't really base that off too much. But I had about 30 to 35,000 players, but Project Slayers also had about 30 to 35,000 players. So they were on about the same level, and GPO update has only been out for 2 days, whereas the Project Slayers update has been out for a month. Obviously, you know, it was early in the morning, so you can't really base it off of that too much. Anyway, another reason why I'm also making this video is because this is really GPO's last straw. What I mean by that is Role Seas is releasing sometime this summer, so sometime within the next 3 months, Role Seas should be releasing. And with the GPO update schedule, I know we are meant to be getting an update 8 part 2. However, with the GPO update schedule, I do not think that is going to be coming out before Role Seas releases. Unless Focus surprises us and makes that release next month, I don't think we will be seeing another update for GPO before Role Seas releases. And Role Seas is looking amazing so far, and it is honestly probably going to be the best One Piece game on Roblox. And that is why this was GPO's last straw, because this was the last update before Role Seas, unless obviously the part 2 comes out. But this will probably be the last update before Role Seas releases. And if this doesn't keep the players, then they're not going to get any more. Or they will get some when the game updates again, but they won't get as many. There won't be people like actually wanting GPO update, they'll be wanting Role Seas to update instead. Now, I did a poll saying what you thought of the GPO update. Do you think it was a W or do you think it was an L? I also put a section saying you haven't played it, so you can't really say an opinion on it. The majority of the people voted they don't have an opinion on it because they haven't touched it. However, between the W and the L, it has 258 votes in total. W got 36% and L got 16%. So the majority of people said that this was a pretty good update. And I would agree, for GPO standards, this update was pretty solid. It had a lot of content, 4 new fruits, which usually we only get about 2. We got 4 new fruits, we got 1 new island, and we got a variety of bosses. And these bosses aren't just your normal bosses like when the Thriller Bark update came out, where you just rotate between them. These ones you actually have to spawn. So for example, Law, you have to go through the entire factory raid before you can actually get to him. Pika, you have to defeat all the Don Quixote family people. And then Doflamingo, you have to defeat Pika, which also requires you to beat the Don Quixote Doflamingo family. So there was definitely some uniqueness with this update. And we also got Cyborg as well. You know, that is probably one of the coolest fighting styles I've seen in this game. Especially the fact that you don't have to win Battle Royale matches to unlock it, which is a positive. For GPO standards, this is definitely one of the better updates. That is for certain. However, this is going off GPO standards, not off actual standards that they should be meeting every single update. If it was standards they should be meeting every single update, GPO just hasn't done that. It just hasn't. Ever. Now, I've been enjoying this update quite a bit, to be honest, and I do think it is a lot of fun. However, it is also the same content. Either you get fruits by cracking, stacking, doing battle royale, whatever, and just farming for fruits over and over again for hours until you get those new mythical fruits, or you do boss farming for hours and hours, just doing the same thing. Because they may have mixed it up a little bit by doing a rotation where you have to like do other stages to spawn the bosses. However, at the end of the day, you are still just rotating between bosses and just bandit beating, basically. I also don't like that the update, there wasn't a single legendary fruit added. It was either you got a common, you got rare with gear second, you got an epic with spring, or you go for a mythical, right? Which mythicals are like pretty much impossible to get for the everyday player, unless you have Robux and you buy mythical chests, and you also have those legendary chests. But you know, it's like they should have at least added a legendary. Maybe even they made spring a legendary. You know, something like that. You know, something that people are actually going to want to use on their main account. Now, I would say it is probably a bit too early to judge whether this did save the game. I would say maybe after about a month, we can look what the player count is like and see what that leads up to what the Project Slayers player count is like. Because Project Slayers, after a month after their update, is still keeping a 30,000 consistent player base. And GPO, you know, after 2 days of the update, it did stoop down to about that level as well. Once again, it was pretty early in the morning, so you can't really take that too much. Maybe people were at school or whatever. But like even during the day, like later on in the day, it was like 70,000 players when Bodger says still at like 30,000 players. So you know it was a big difference. However, even early in the morning, they were about the same player base. Now I'm not trying to make this video too long, so I'm just gonna probably end it off here. Let me just answer the question. Did GPO update 8 save the game? I would probably argue it is a bit too soon to tell. Maybe if we start getting some sneaks for update 8 part 2, because we've seen nothing of that. Some people might have thought Venom was coming in update 8 part 2 because update 8 part 2 is going to be the Impel Down section of it, and Venom is in Impel Down. But you know, we have no fruits at all for part 2 shown off so far. So if you within the next month sneak some update 8 part 2 stuff and then goes on to later on, maybe a few months down the line, maybe just before Velocity's releases, with a release date, you know, and not have a 6-month wait like we did for this update, then maybe GPO might still be able to keep those players after Velocity's releases. And I still think it kind of will. Even if Velocity's release and GPO updates, I probably will hop on GPO. However, because Velocity's also has release content, it's arguable that there's going to be a lot of content in Velocity's to do. Whereas in GPO, update content, you know, it's going to be like less than a day of grinding, and then you're going to be done with all the content, unless update 8 part 2 is anything completely different than what we've ever gotten before. So yeah, I might make another video on this, maybe in about a month's time or something like that, saying whether or not this update has saved GPO, if we've gotten any new sneaks for part 2, if we've gotten a release date maybe, you know, because you would have thought update 8 part 2 was also being worked on at the same time as update 8 part 1, so they don't have that big of a wait, because it's a part 2 of an update. So update 8 part 1 released, update 8 part 2 shouldn't take another 6 months to a year to release. So I guess we'll find out. Only time will tell whether or not GPO is going to be able to keep those players once Velocity's releases. We probably won't know that until Velocity's releases. However, Velocity's is definitely going to be getting those players, where GPO is going to have like 5 to 10,000 players max, most likely. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, be on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Yeah, join my Discord down below in the description. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.